Radio
Alter. Radio Alter.
Do you ever remember your father? Well, sometimes I scroll by memory. It was written in 1942. The Italian army was firing hostages near the walls of the cemetery in Vernica. The young Jurcik, a partisan courier, watched and decided to do some harm to the Italians. He went secretly to the vehicles and removed the wheel bolts with the key so that the Italians would return home on foot after the hostage was shot. It was not clear to them how this had happened to them. After a while, Jurcik went from Vernica to vacation in Starovas near Postojna with his uncle. Postojna was then occupied by the Italians. Because they lacked soldiers at the end of 1942, they mobilized the Slovenes. So they took Jurcik and his uncle to Trieste, where they were given an Italian uniform, a rifle and sent to Guard, the so-called Adriatic Guard. Italians learned how to play the guitar and sing Italian serenades so that he could try everything and practice under the women's windows of Trieste. La, la, la. But when Jurcik had enough, he decided to run home. When he returned, he stopped a little at Domobranci and Notranska to get some sleep, eat and change, and then continued his journey to the partisans. As you would today see economic migrants rushing across Slovenia to Europe. He was in Noj until the end of the war. He did not want to go to the party because his family were faithful and his mother went to church. After the war, he wanted to escape to America with his girlfriend, who had been the RE for some time. Before that, his father had served in Egypt in the English army, along with his older son. Jurcik had no luck crossing the border in the Rosna Dolina. They captured both him and his girlfriend and his friend. This was followed by the infamous indictment, Article 133 of the CC verbal tort, etc. He received over 7 years of political imprisonment. He was sent away by 5 of them for 2 years in solitary confinement, where he counted cockroaches so he wouldn't go crazy. In March, he met a criminal, a woman's heartbreaker, a mobster, Slovenian Robin Hood's Tonase. Anyone else remember the Dolce Far Niente song? It used to be, once upon a time, on the white side of the Alps, a man's bicycle was considered to be a spoiled and elegant cyclist. Thieves steal money from stupid men, and steal women. That's why a pretty girl's navel never looks back. Dolce, oh dolce far niente. She will run elsewhere, without us, in the lap of a man's bike, in love until the end and beyond. Dolce, oh dolce far niente. If the robber only goes all the way. After being released from prison, my father met my mother and made me. His father sent dollars to me many times from America, but Jurcik always liked to put dollars in his pocket. One day his father sent him a camera on a bag and a flashlight with light bulbs. Because at that time in Yugoslavia the kids didn't have many toys, I liked to play with the camera and I was so curious if it was really a bird in the camera that I disassembled the camera with a screwdriver. I have to admit, I was no longer able to put the camera back. Then I got hit by a political prisoner, so I could barely walk for a while. I have told my father many times that I do not understand how he was able to disassemble cars to the Italians, and I do not need one poor camera. Well, it wasn't long and it was already a burst. I got a Swiss Starwell watch. And the story was repeated. I split the clock on the surfactants and my dad went crazy again. The blows followed again. I have to say, my dad was even in the Red Party for a while. He became president of KS and hung out with the secretary a lot. When the party learned that he was unworthy of a secretary, groping, he was turned off at the suggestion of my mother. Mom, however, made sure the court was not bored. She waited for the secretary and smashed her with a stick. Then she paid for the pain she caused for a while. It's true. You are right. The apple does not fall far from the tree. If I were the Prime Minister, it would be really bad with secretaries.